and they should really just talk about what they would want out of the relationship, out of being parents, what they want for the kid, and for the most part, it's what's best for the kid. And when you analyze that statement, what's best for the kid is not to see mom and dad fighting all the time. It's not to see, destruction of property going on. You need to set an example, and we lead by example in the home, regardless of if we want to or not. People always pick up on what we're doing in our mannerisms. So,
Yeah, well said. I like that. I like that.
um,
Especially for the benefit of the child, You're absolutely right. Your son or daughter is going to be watching how mom and dad interacts, not only in the good times, but also when there's a disagreement. And the way mom and dad responds is going to be either, you know, it's going to be teaching your son or daughter what type of behavior they should be able to accept. And imagine dad pushing mom. It's like, well, a little girl will say, okay, well then that's how a relationship is. Mom and dad pushes each other, so I'll allow a guy to push me,
yeah.
because that's what So yeah, we don't want to have that right message. So I love that you focused on that as well.
That's the thing. Like, you are your relationship with your spouse is the prime example of love for that household. They look to you
Absolutely.
for like how someone should love somebody. And I want
Mhm.
to make this clear too, because I say a lot of times, you look at the moral cultural decline in America, or the society's problems, a lot of things are going on, and it can all stem from like broken homes. And I've said it before, but it all leads back to that, right? You point to any problem in America or wherever else, and I can lead you to like the result of a broken home, you know, and that really comes to play in these certain scenarios, like the example of a love in the home, or how to be treated, and self-confidence and self-love, which is at an all-time low, in kids and in individuals. That's built in a home, in a loving, intentional parenting home. And I want to make this clear too, that broken homes isn't just talking about like divorced homes or separated homes, but a broken home can be a home with two parents that just hate each other, that don't love each other, that
Right.
don't interact and abuse each other or the kids, you know?
I'm glad you addressed that. I'm glad you addressed that because that's a reality for some people as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I challenge us to be intentional, peaceful parents, and, nurture a house of love and trust. And if you feel like you have to go to some extremes to prove a point, or to get your kids to listen to you, I encourage you that that's not the way. And there are other ways to discipline your children, and other ways to build that trust and loving relationship. And again, it's all preemptive if we can get it. So when we take the time to look at these problems and find other ways to address them that aren't emotional reactions but intentional responses,
Mm.
to these
Mm.
events, we can intentionally parent, and we can intentionally build the lives we want, and the home we want, the home environment we want, that will be successful and give the kid the best shot, going out on their own. Because when we're just going through life, like I said, not prioritizing, and just what happens happens, and we're dealing with it as it comes, we are susceptible to just going to what's familiar, going to what's known.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm, like I said, we might disagree on this, but or not me personally, but people can say I was hit as a kid. I turned out fine.
Oh,
That's
oh
okay.
yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
um, that is stemmed from, and that we can go back to that, and then it's okay for me to hit my kid, right? Because they'll turn out fine.
Mhm.
And what
Mm.
happens is, if there's an emotional reaction, kids throwing a temper tantrum in a store, or whatever have you, we will emotionally react out of fear of public opinion, instead of what is best for
Mm.
the child in that moment, or in
Mm.
general,
Mm.
right? And we'll
Mm.
just resort to what happened to us as kids, because it wasn't that bad, because I'm fine now.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
I really
That's a
think,
good point.
we're not fine now. It's clear with the way society and the culture is going, where there are a lot of problems that need to be addressed, and a lot of lack of intentional parenting that is happening. We're thinking we'll just take these situations as they come, and that's okay, that's enough. And I'm telling you, it's not. You know, we need to
Mm.
think about these things ahead of time, and have a plan, and like I said, instead of emotionally reacting to the event, intentionally respond with what is best for the kid, what is going to teach them the lesson, what is going to teach them right from wrong, not just don't do that because I said so, because I'm going to hit you if you do it again. You know,
Mm. Mm.
when you start to parent peacefully, and go from an aspect of love and trust, instead of, fear and submission, that's when we build stronger, more confident, humans, you know.
Mm.
So these all everything kind of connects in this sense where we need to take. It's important to prioritize your life, what is important to you, and take steps to achieve those things. You know, and I've said it before, where like not everyone's gonna do that. You know, everyone's kind of conditioned to just be, just follow the news, follow the media, listen to what they're saying, and just be mad at
Oh
what they're
yeah.
mad at, not really care about the real
Yeah.
problems or what you can control or what's happening in your life. I'm fine, you know. I'll go to my 9 to 5 or whatever, and I'll just get. It's complacency, you know, and a lot of people are
Mhm.
fine with that, and that's, you know, to each their own. But I challenge us to want more out of life and to actually realize that we can attain it. You know, whether you think you
Mm.
can or you think you can't, you're right. So
Correct. Correct. I love that quote.
yeah, yeah, it's
So
it's a
true.
great one. So I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it is possible to break these generational curses. It is possible to give your kids the best opportunities and outlook on life. But that's more than just your checkbook. It's more than financial. It's important to establish right and wrong, and to teach them these lessons without using, you know, domineering and fear mongering. You know, don't be a tyrant in the home,
Mm.
because then that child will grow up used to a tyrant like authority and will subject to one in their own lives later on. You know, when you're not there.
It's true.
Um, but about dating. No, it's seriously though. It is important to date intentionally, and when you're taking that step of finding the right person, you know, yeah, I don't think it takes super long if you can tell right away, like, okay, this isn't someone I'd want to grow old with, have a family with, start a family with. We have way different views, you know, and especially if you don't have that spark to be with that person all the time, like, yeah, move on, you know,
Yeah,
next.
exactly. Exactly. I
And
like that.
what's important
So,
too is, like, yes, we all want love, we all need love, we all need that connection, but I implore us to focus on ourselves as well. If you're out here searching for someone, you know, that's okay, but in the sense, I'd prefer if we were to just, like, what is your house in order? You know, are you prepared to be that person for someone else, like their best life partner, you know? And if not, you know,
mm,
how can we become that person? Focus on building yourself up first, and the right person will come along. You know, they will be attracted to that energy. You know,
mm.
um, that's what I would say.
Nice. Nice. Very well said, sir.
So, is there any more information you can give us about the scenario, or is it just like,
Uh, I mean, well, one of the biggest scenarios that bits of information I'm aware of is that this young lady that he's dealing with. Uh, it turns out that her mother, of course, has maybe, she was in I don't know if she was married, but I know that her relationship, obviously, with this, uh, the father of, this lady didn't work out. So, but what's interesting is she lives with her mother as well, which is the grandmother, and she has, to my understanding, um, five different children. Grandmother had five different children with five different men in her lifetime. So it's almost like this. It almost seems like it's just the cycle that's happening, kind of like what you were already addressing, actually. It's almost like the family, the grandmother has these five children, and she's, from five different men, and then the mother, um, and she has two daughters, but I believe it's with the same guy, but she's not with the guy. And now this girl is dealing with the guy that I know, and yeah, it's almost like
it's a
so yeah,
vicious cycle?
yeah, you actually addressed it. Yeah, it's actually playing itself out. It's playing
And
itself out.
we can't, like, and that's something I want to make clear too. Just don't, because I got a lot of preemptive knowledge, because that's my stage of my life right now as well. But don't feel like all is lost because you're stuck in the middle of it, or because things look like they're crumbling, or you're already divorced or anything. I want to make this clear. There is no excuse to not be an intentional, loving parent to your kids. No excuse.
Mm,
You know, no matter your circumstances, no matter what it is, there's no reason to not be a part of that kid's life and to not teach them the best to your ability, right? I
mm,
tweeted out
mm.
about this today, but I don't care if you're not the role model they need. I don't care if you're not, you're not married or you don't have a loving relationship to show them. Your kids need you in their lives, period. You
Yeah.
know, and if you are not the
Yes.
role model they need, become that person. You know,
Amen.
Like that's what I talk about by prioritizing like what's important to you. And here's the thing, a lot of people won't. A lot of people can't get their head around the fact that like these problems are stemming from like broken homes, and how can I fix that in my own home and the kids I have. People don't realize that that's where we fix these problems of society, so they don't see it as they wouldn't put the time to intentionally do that, right? We're inherently
Mm,
selfish, we have ego, we fall into power trip, and we really inherently would put ourselves first above a lot of people. So in that worldview, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, the kids, whatever, it didn't work out great. I'm just gonna do my best, and I'm focusing on me and doing my own thing, right?
mm, mm.
Almost, it's like it's a lost cause. I'm just the part-time dad or whatever. I'm just the part-time parent. But no, I challenge us to be better than that because it does matter, right? And you're gonna have to roll with the punches because it's not easy to establish a loving, trusting relationship if you spent years hitting them or spent years like just being a fear factor or even whatever else. It doesn't even have to be hitting, but you spent years like not being a part of their lives and not being an intentional parent. So you're gonna get a year or two of like transitional period, right? Where they're not gonna believe what you're saying because you haven't
Yeah.
established trust and love and everything. But it's important for us to come to them and talk to these kids on their level, and treat them as
Mm,
humans that can understand things because they're a lot smarter than we give them credit, and they can understand situations better. They come with
mm,
us with questions, and we should have answers as to like this is what's right, this is what's wrong, this is why. You know, or
mm,
if we don't know
mm.
everything, it's okay to admit that too. We're human, we make mistakes. It's important to
Very true.
fess up
Very
to
true.
your mistakes. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I treated you like this. Um, Dad's gonna try and do better. Dad's gonna look, but that's the problem. You have to actually mean that.
Mm,
You have to put in the work and actually mean that and show results of you trying to do better, us all trying to heal. So don't think just because you didn't do it right in the first place, you can't fix it today. The best time to fix your family was yesterday. The second best time is today, right? Um,
yeah.
so yeah, that's what that's whole thing is about. Like, there's no excuse not to be an intentional parent. Especially if they're grown up and everything. Just tell your kids you love them, that you're proud of them. Tell your parents too. Forgive your parents. Talk to them, build that relationship. It's important, but it's also important to not to acknowledge what was wrong. You don't have to say that they did their best if they truly didn't. That's okay to
Mm,
acknowledge what was wrong. That's how we can grow and not repeat the same mistakes. But
mm.
it's important to forgive and let go and just um, you know take control of your life. Don't let these other factors tear at your ability to interact with your world and your kids.
Mm, mm.